Hello, I welcome you all in the session of SHERPA and RoMEO. As you are aware that in last 2.5 decades there has been a great deal of growth in establishing digital libraries, especially the institutional repositories, where institutes used to keep their uh, documents, in-house documents, in the digital repositories, as well as the publications of the faculty members of the institutes in these institutional repositories. Unfortunately, around year 2000, it was realized that many publishers do not permit the authors to submit their already published research papers into digital repositories. And then there was a big debate among the academicians why they should publish their research works in these electronic journals or traditional journals if they are not allowed to freely distribute their own publication and they forfeit their copyright claim on their own work. So, keeping that in mind, many of the publishers responded and they relaxed their copyright policies and allowed many of the authors to submit their research work to institutional repositories and on other open access systems. So what happened is there was great change in the policies of research journals and a platform was required where these policies are to be kept so that when author is publishing their research work, they should be able to know which publisher to choose and when. Responding to this problem, Stephen Pinfield in 2002 formed SHERPA organization, which runs many services, and this whole talk is all about the SHERPA and its associated services like RoMEO. As you know, SHERPA RoMEO is brainchild of Stephen Spielfield in 2002. Looking into SHERPA, which is an organization, and there are 34 members associated with this uh, organization. SHERPA stands for Securing a Hybrid Environment for Research Preservation and Access. SHERPA advocates establishing institutional repositories and promotes open access movements. A whole SHERPA project is hosted at University of Nottingham in its Center for Research Communication. There are four major services in SHERPA. The first one is RoMEO, which is basically a database of publishers, copyright, and archiving policies. There is another one uh, which is known as Juliet. This is a database of research funders' archiving mandates and guidelines to help the authors to know the publishing policies or mandate policies of the funding agencies from where they are getting the grants. The third one is OpenDOAR, which is a worldwide directory of open access repositories. Coming to RoMEO model, if you see uh, in RoMEO model, RoMEO is a database of journals, which is searchable. This database contains publishers' policies regarding the self-archiving of journal articles published by authors in any open access platform, including your institutional repositories. So, RoMEO is a database which is searchable and anyone can search online. Why the RoMEO was needed, service of RoMEO was needed? It enables authors to know about the publishing policies of journals so that the authors able to know that where to publish their research paper in order to get best cited uh, after the publication, and they should able to deposit their document in some kind of open access repositories. So basically RoMEO helps the authors to find out the best suited journals, and it makes them aware about the publishing policies of those journals. Apart from this, some funding agencies require open access archiving of research publications they funded. So RoMEO gives information about the journals, what kind of publishing policies they have with respect to open access, uh, so that authors in future can deposit their documents in a repository. RoMEO database contains name of journals and the publishers associated with them, the publication policies of these journals, and the color code uh, to which these journals do belong. These color codes are basically green, blue, yellow, and white, which we will be talking in the next slide, in next few slides. This is a RoMEO entry where you can see we have different metadata, including the name of the journal, the RoMEO color code, what is the open access policies related to the paid open access we'll be talking about. Then there are other copyright elements, journal conditions for the authors which they should follow, and so on and so forth. So this is one entry in RoMEO database which you can search and find out. Coming to coverage of RoMEO database, almost 22,000 journals it covers, which are peer reviewed. Uh, the journals are selected from various publishers' websites, which are included in RoMEO database. Apart from that, it also uses data from British Library's ZDoc services, Directory of Open Access Journals, and in Trace. Apart from this RoMEO database, apart from the database, it also searches ZDoc, DOAR, and inference databases. If you perform search on RoMEO database, coming to coverage, RoMEO covers almost 2,562 publishers. Uh, you can see here there are almost 1,064 publishers with green label, there are 844 publishers with blue color code, there are 183 with yellow color code. Apart from that, there is a very good website maintained by Sherpa about the statistics of the usage of RoMEO database. As we know that it stores publishers' policies regarding publishers' copyright transfer agreements, open access policies, and other publishers' documents. What it does is it summarizes all these documents and makes a standard format out of it, uh, which can be used by the authors in order to evaluate the publishing policies of various publishers and journals in order to decide where to publish. There are four color codes, as I told you: green, blue, yellow, and white. Green refers to uh, the color code, which says that an author can archive preprint and postprint or publisher's version of PDF. That means if a journal is having green color code, the authors can deposit their preprint and postprint document as well to any open access archive. Whereas the journals with blue color code, only postprint is to be submitted in any archive. The journals with yellow color code uh, can have permission to archive only preprint, whereas white doesn't allow anything to be uh, put in any kind of archive. Talking about preprint and postprint, what they are. Preprints are the version of paper before peer reviewing process. That means the moment I write a paper and the draft I send for the peer review, that draft is a preprint. Whereas a postprint is the paper which comes out after the review process, and it is a well formatted paper in the publisher's style, which is to be published. Okay, so we have two kinds of formats. One is preprint, other is postprint. Preprint is the draft version, which is before publishing, whereas postprint is the version which is uh, which is actually the publisher format of the document, which one can submit to any kind of repositories. Beside here we have both kind of formats for your view. There is one preprint format. You can see this is the document which we have submitted for peer reviewing process. You see it is not well formatted as the post print format is there. In post print you can see the journal title, two column, the way that the paper is published in the actual journal. So this version is a post print format and this version is preprint format. Apart from that, there is one more open access system. We call it as mandated open access system. Many of the funding agencies, they have their inherent policies regarding the uh, publication coming out of the research projects which they fund. So these, according to these guidelines, any researcher who is undertaking project through the funding of these funding agency must publish their research work in one of the open access repositories. So this kind of open access is known as mandated open access. Apart from this, there is another kind of open access, we call it as paid open access, in which you can publish your research work in a journal. Initially, your article is not open access, but if you want to make it an open access, the publisher or the journal, they ask you to deposit some additional fee, and once you deposit that additional fee, your article is made publicly access. So this kind of open access where author pays uh, for making his research paper uh, publicly available is known as paid open access. This is the search page of SHERPA RoMEO. Here you can see we have a search box. We can go directly to the website to view uh, how it is working. Now we are moving towards the SHERPA website. Here we can perform search. The search facility is on journal title. You can search by publisher's name, exact title you can look for, or you can look for contain. You can type a word and you can search for contain. So we will, for the timing, we'll take the contains and we'll search for uh, library, and I'm doing this search. Now you see, here we have many journals which have word library in their title. Okay, uh, there are many journals and the results are in different column. In first column you have journal, in second column you have ISSN, then many journals have electronic ISSN, so that is there. Then we have color code associated with each journals. Like for example, if you see academic and library computing, it is completely green journal. So author can deposit their pre and post script both kind of document in any digital repository. Whereas if you see African Law Study Library, okay, it is yellow labeled. Our very familiar one, Annals of Library and Information Science, which is published by NISCARE, that is also listed here. If you wish to look the data related to annals, you can click this, and then here you have the metadata associated with annals of library and information science. Apart from that, we can search for some more journals. We will search for electronic library. Let us see, we find something. Oops, we did not find anything. We will go back again to the search. Contains electronic libraries. Yeah, here it is. We have two journals. One is electronic library, other is program. So we'll see the metadata of electronic library. Yeah, we have now different metadata sets of electronic library in the RoMEO entry. You can see we have journal title, then RoMEO color code is green for the journal. For paid open access, the policy is a paid open access option is available with this journal. Author can deposit preprint, postprint, but author cannot deposit the publisher's version of PDF. Okay, they can deposit the postscript, but not the publisher's version. Okay, there are some general conditions associated with them. Then mandated open access is also available. It is complies with 16 funding agencies. So here we have different kind of metadata associated with uh, electronic library in the RoMEO database. So this is the entry we were talking about. We have seen it live. This is the new version of SHERPA RoMEO. Uh, they are going to migrate to this platform very soon. The one we have seen is going to be outdated. in from it is to be discontinued July onwards. So now the RoMEO is shifting to this platform. There is another database which is known as Juliet. Okay, it is a database of open access policies of funding agencies. So different funding agencies are there which fund different projects. Uh, so this database actually creates the or stores the policies of different funding agencies regarding open access. So RoMEO uses Juliet uh, also when it displays an entry, okay, regarding uh, compliance of the uh, journal as well as the funding agency. However, there is a special service related to this. We'll get come to that. This is the Juliet search. Here, this is the search interface and this is the output. Again, we'll perform the search on internet. Yeah, here it is, the Juliet database. We will do the search. We'll perform the search for Indian Council. So, Indian Council of Agricultural Research. So I have typed Indian. It gives me the complete ICAR. So there is an entry in the name of ICAR. Now here we have the data about ICAR. So you can see the funders information is there. Then you have it requires open access archiving. So regarding open access archiving, it has various policies. Okay. So requirement in the requirement section, ICAR requires open access archiving. So any publication out of the grant of ICAR has to be kept in open access. However, here you will see they permit an embargo period because many of the journals, okay, what they suggest is authors can archive their publications in any open access platform, but only after the publication of 12 months. Okay, so ICAR permits the embargo period of 12 months. ICAR says yes, from the publication date, you need not to put, but after 12 months of the publication, you must put your publication into any repositories for public access. It doesn't have any policy on open access publishing, so here it is. There are some general open access policies uh, from ICAR. So some note section you can see some policies. Well, these policies also apply for MSc and PhD thesis and dissertations. No policy on data archiving, and here you have some system metadata available, which is generated by the Julia database. So coming back to our presentation, this is the interface of Juliet database, which we have just now searched for one of the Indian organization. Now there is another service called as FACT. Uh, it is a very interesting service. Okay, uh, what it actually stands for, FACT stands for is Funders and Authors Compliance Tool. Okay, so what exactly it does is there are policies with the funders, they have their own mandates, and each journal has their own publishing policies. If an author wants to publish his work in a journal, uh, and his research work is funded by a publishing industry, obviously that funding agency has certain mandates and journal has certain policies. Now when author is publishing his research work, he has to look for the compliance of funding agency's mandate against the policy of the journal he is choosing for publication. So fact actually help the authors to find out which is the most suitable journal for him or her for publication uh, of his research work, which is funded by some funding agencies. But normally, this fact has the data about only the UK-based organizations. So this is the search page of fact. Again, we can go to the website, and here you would see it is taking a little more time. Here you would see uh, uh, these are the organizations which are listed here. We'll give one of the searches I take here from you know electronic library and place it here, and then one of the UK funding agency I take. So you can add the co-funding agencies, and then you press check compliance. Now the fact gives you the results. Okay, so this is the fact result. The funding agency is Arts and Humanities Research Council. Journal I'm looking for is electronic library. You can comply with your funders policy. You can publish your article compliantly with open access. So, fact is a tool for the authors to find the compliance of publishing policy of journals against the mandates of funding agencies. There is one very important service. We call it as OpenDOAR. Actually, it is a global directory of open access repositories. Uh, OpenDOAR lists repositories that provide free open access to academic outputs and resources. So open access is a repository where, sorry, it is a directory or it is a database which stores informations about global repositories which are open access or freely available for people. Apart from that, it gives support for framing the policies for repositories. So if you go to OpenDOAR website, there are two kinds of policies they have given. There is one minimal policy and there is an optimal policy. So whenever you are designing your own repository, you can decide upon which kind of policy you can adopt, or you can slightly modify minimal and optimal. Apart from that, Doer has a very good statistical page about the usage of these open access repositories, which you can go through. This is the Doer website on the same platform of RoMEO. We can go to Doer website and see here. We can see here. Yeah, again, we can go to the website here. If you see, we have you can type the repository name and then you can search. So, say for example, if I type for any Indian this thing, say for example, I'm typing about InflibNet. Yeah, we have got InflibNet here. So D space at InflibNet. We search around. So this is InflibNet results. You can see D space at InflibNet. The description is there. The URL of the repository is given. The repository is hosted on versions 1.6 of DSpace. Okay, total number of metadata is 1770, means records are 1777. This is some organizational metadata about InfluBNet. The metadata policy is given here, so anyone can access the metadata free of cost from the InfluBNet. Uh, Anyone may access full items free of cost. This is regarding data policies. There is some content policy, but unfortunately, it is not defined here. Submission policy is not defined in this. Yes, of course, there is preservation policy that is also InfluBNet has not defined. So, what exactly DOAR database does for you is under these subheadings, it records the data from the uh, repositories. You can see there is a very good statistical page also uh, from showing you different repositories. You can see maximum it is 900 from USA. Somewhere India should also be there in the list. Yeah, here it is. So from India we have 193 repositories. Okay, so we have 93 repositories from India. So there are different kinds of statistics are available. You can see maximum repositories have English documents, other, Portuguese, German. There are different kind of language repositories out there. This is software-based, you know, chart of these repositories. The maximum is DSpace, and the second number is ePrints. Okay, uh, second is ePrints. Uh, yeah, it is ePrints. So you can see different level of statistics associated with this website. Uh, so we have OpenDOAR, which is a directory of open access repositories. For this presentation, I have used resources from SHERPA and RoMEO. These are the URLs which you can go through, and then you can find out additional information uh, related to SHERPA and RoMEO. So this is it about SHERPA and RoMEO. So finally, when I conclude, I say that SHERPA and RoMEO is a platform which helps the authors to find out best suited journal for their work in order to get the uh, good number of citations and visibility. So this platform is a kind of it establishes a kind of linkage between authors, publishers, and funding agencies. And finally, it promotes open access. Hope you like this lecture. And if any doubt, you can get back to me at adityatripati at bhu.ac.in. Thank you.